welcome to the first ever Beer Brackets St. Patrick's Day lead up. We're going to be celebrating St. Patrick's Day right this year. Everybody's got to be home. Bars are closed, pubs are closed, parades are all canceled. We're not going to be able to celebrate St. Patrick's Day like we normally like to. But we're going to do our best to kind of make this festive and to celebrate Irish beers in only a way that we can here at Beer Brackets. And to start this off, this is the first in a string of episodes that we're going to be doing, where we're going to do a versus battle for the ages, might I say. One that I have wanted to do since we started this channel, one that I have been curious about for years and years and years and years, particularly because I have never tried this one over here, even though I am a massive fan of this one over here. Yes, it is Guinness Drafts in a can versus in a bottle. Which one is better? Or which one do we like better? We're going to find out. And like I just kind of hinted at, I've never had it in a bottle before, so I'm super curious. Alessandro, you've tried it in the bottle before, right? So you've had both?
Yes, I have. I've had it in the bottle, I had it in a can, I had it on draft, and I had it in Ireland too. Like you have too, I know.
We met over a pint of Guinness in Ireland. So this is special to us. Guinness is kind of like the beer king to the Beer Bracket channel. This is the first beer that Alessandro and I had together. And that's how we bonded over beer for the first time and started talking. So this is very, very near and dear to our hearts. I was telling Alessandro before we started filming that I believe the true way to drink a Guinness is on tap. And the can with the widget inside of it is probably, and if you're not sure what the widget is, put a link to our Guinness, what is that ball in a can of Guinness inside the brackets video below. Check that out if you haven't seen it yet. So the can with the widget has got to be the closest approximation to Guinness on tap. So the bottle is going to have to do something pretty spectacular to win me over. So maybe I'm coming in a little biased to begin with. But hell, we're leading up to St. Patrick's Day. It's all about having fun and celebrating. Friend, where do you stand on this? Which one do you think? You've already had both. Drinking them both in kind of a critiquing setting like this is a little bit different. So what are you expecting going into it?
So, like you said, I'm probably going into this a little biased because I've had it before, but I've never actually compared them like we're going to do tonight. So I'm going to try to keep my expectations like very open and trying to think as clear as possible. I am leaning, like you said, a little bit more towards the can because that's kind of like what like my mind is telling me is what is going to taste better, but we'll see. There might be some surprises. We don't know.
There might be. Okay, guys, what we're going to do, we're going to crack open a can. We're going to crack open a bottle. We're going to pour out a little bit of each one to separate glasses, and we're going to compare it. And we're just going to see what we think about it. We're going to break them down. We're going to see how they stack up. Should we pour them out?
Let's go ahead, man. I can't wait.
Yeah, this is a completely new experience for me. By the way, we're talking about this before. These bottles are so cool. Good job, Guinness. Like the branding on these bottles is just fantastic. I love that sort of full body label sticker that they have on there. That's really cool. Ooh, nice hiss.
Oh, yes.
Smells like Guinness, gotta say. So I have no idea what this is gonna look like. What's it gonna look like without the widget? Let's find out. Ooh, so you're really just getting that essence of Guinness. Oh, wow. So these are going to be completely different. So shall we pour out the cans?
Oh, yeah. Let's do that.
God, I love that. I love cracking open a can of Guinness. Oh, man. There is nothing like that creaminess That is just absolutely perfect.
Look at that.
Yeah, when you do just a quick side-by-side comparison of them, I mean, look at this. When you have them both on a table in front of each other like that, you see the creaminess of one, and then how the other is just like, it's so different. It just looks like a much more flat, kind of dark ale.
Let's say that the bottle is not starting off nicely, but it's just a look. It's not a category.
Exactly.
The aroma is a different thing, right?
Oh, wow. You know what, though? The aroma on the bottle version is a lot stronger.
Let's see. You're right.
It is, right? What do you think that has to do with? Well, first of all, not having the nitrogen infused into it by the widget, maybe being slightly less creamy in that sense, being bare bones beer without that extra kick of nitrogen. Do you think that just gives it a little bit more freedom to release those aromas?
Yeah, I think that the CO2 here is bringing up a little bit more of that aroma compared to the nitrogen version. So my expectation, what the bottle is going to win on the nose is going to lose on the mouthfeel. But I do agree, on the nose, it is more intense.
Okay, so let's do an official comparison here. On the aroma, we're not going to do a full-on rating, but which one do you prefer out of the two?
So I would say while the aroma is more intense and you smell more the roasted character,
Yeah.
I don't know if I would call this like what I normally identify with Guinness. It's delicious. It's good, but it's not what I associate necessarily with what I tend to prefer in Guinness. Like it's delicious, that same roasted character, but I think the more gentle and subtle approach on this for me is winning. So I'm going to go with the can on the aroma, even though like you do smell more after trying the one in the bottle.
You know what? It's so funny because I started this off by saying the bottle's going to have to do something really spectacular to win me over. It's won me over on the aroma. I actually prefer this stronger bottle aroma to the can. Like you said, it's not the smell that you associate with Guinness exactly. It's not that subtle sort of smooth, creamy, pillowy aroma that you associate with Guinness. It's a much more amplified, magnified version of that. But that's just amazing for me. You're taking something that's delicious and magnifying it 5 times. So for me, the bottle's winning out on the aroma factor. I'm dying to taste this. Let's get right into it, man. We got to do a taste test.
Cheers.
Cheers, my friend.
Double cheers.
Double cheers. Okay. So now I'm starting to see the differences here. Yeah. All right. On the bottle, man, you get like so much you get more bitterness from the bottle. Is that just me? Are you getting that too? Like the hops are much more present. It's just all bitter, and I'm not getting the roasted flavors that I love from Guinness so much from the bottle as much. They're there, but it's much more bitterness forward, I find. And the can just balances everything out so much more, and you get that roasted flavor is so much more straightforward. What do you think?
So I think that for me, sets the bottle apart on top of what you just said, which I agree with 100%. There's this weird middle lack of it's almost like the bottle, you taste the top part of the flavors like in a very like light and airy way, and then it goes down immediately to the bitterness.
Yeah.
It's lacking that mid-palate, balance that the can has, like that silkiness, which I know is more on the mouthfeel, so I don't want to talk too much about it. Yeah. But I do get more separate flavors on the taste, on the bottle. While on the can, they're more together. They go together, they transition in a very nice way, more like a dance. While here, they're a little bit more one and then the other.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. Through the bottle, this just tastes like a regular stout to me. It's good. It's a really good, really smooth, well-balanced stout, but it doesn't stand out. In the can, you get that what you get on tap. You get that extra creaminess from the nitrogen that's in there, that extra foaminess that just makes Guinness for me, and it ties everything together and it brings it together in this silky smooth package that just makes it so delicious and pleasant to drink and makes it so unique at the same time. And this is just lacking that. So it takes that uniqueness out of Guinness for me. It just sucks it right out and it becomes just like a regular run-of-the-mill good stout. But it takes away the Guinness factor, man. It takes away that spirit of Guinness, which, man, I don't want to sound too biased right off the bat because it's good. It's delicious, don't get me wrong, but man, the can is Guinness for me. Man, maybe it's because I just associated with Guinness on tap and just like that creamy head and just, seeing the bubbles in the air and the nitrogen kind of flow through it, and it's alive with carbonation, and just, it's beautiful, right? It's a work of art and it goes down so creamy. This is just lacking that. So you have like those base flavors of Guinness, the base taste and aroma, but just without that extra pizzazz. So what do you think about the mouthfeel?
So, while on the taste, there's like small differences. Mouthfeel, it's can, period. I'm not gonna.
Yeah, I know.
I'm sorry. Like, that's not even a question.
Yeah, I know.
The creaminess, it's just the way, like, it's two completely different beers. So for me, that if I'm thinking Guinness, what I like, it's gonna be can.
Yeah, it is two completely different beers, right? Like on this one, it has, for the mouthfeel, like the bottle, you get the bitterness. It's much more hop forward, right? The bitterness is so much more present in the bottle. Without the creaminess, you're left with just the bitterness and the tingling sensation on your tongue from the bitterness. And you don't have just that delicious creaminess that brings that Guinness to that next level. So yeah, it's the can all the way for mouthfeel.
I think I just realized what it is. I think that, like what you just said, like in the bottle, you have that roasted character and then the bitterness. And there's nothing to bind them. Here, to bind them. Here, you have roasted character, that silky creaminess, and then the bitterness. So it's the binding element, it's the creaminess, that's what it is.
And come on. Like, why? I don't know. Why? I said this in our Guinness review too, never drink Guinness out of a bottle. And it's funny because I never actually tried Guinness out of a bottle when I said that. But from what I knew of Guinness and what gave it the characteristics that I love, I just didn't see the point of ever trying it out of a bottle. Oh man, this is just... Every time I have a Guinness, it's an experience. So for the finish, what do you think? Is there a big difference between the two?
So on the finish, I would say, honestly, out of all the elements that we're describing, it's, if you gave me the two and I had to just analyze the finish, I would say they're both Guinness, distinguishedly. Maybe the fact that obviously this has more creaminess lingers a little bit more, but if we're just strictly looking at the finish, I would say they're equal, and that is probably the element that I would pick where, they're pretty much the same.
Interesting. You think they're the same? Let me be the judge of that, good sir. I could just drink Guinness out of a can. I could just, if this is like if you told me this is the only beer I'd be having for the rest of my life, I would be very, very satisfied with that. I'm
fine with that. Like Guinness in a can, sure, sign me up.
I know, right? So I'm gonna disagree. I'm gonna strongly disagree with you on that one, sir. I think the finish is actually very different for the two of them. For me, on the bottle, the finish is very, very bitter in comparison. Maybe not as a standalone experience. If you just had this, you might not find it overly bitter. But when you're comparing the two and you're sipping one after another, all I get on the finish from the bottle is the bitterness. And you don't get that beautiful sort of, let's have to take another sip to refresh the memory. In the can, you still get the bitterness, but the bitterness is so much more balanced. I find it's there, but you get the creaminess and the roasted element that just all combine together to balance it all out to make this one wonderful experience. But the bottle is very just bitterness forward for me on the finish. So overall, I think that's just going to be our final decision here. I think it's pretty clear at this point, right? I mean, when we did the Heineken can versus bottle, there was a little bit more to break down and analyze there. There's a lot to break down and analyze here, but I think we're pretty clear on our opinions on where this is going so far. I'll let you do the honors and say first, who's winning this battle? This great, on the plains of Dublin, the can battling the bottle. What would, if you had to face Sir Arthur Guinness, and tell him what you preferred out of the bottle or can, how would you tell him that his great beer, Guinness Draught, should be served?
Well, I would just say the can is the winner, and this is how you should drink Guinness. Always. Delicious, creamy, roasted, slightly bitter, perfect way to end your day, and it's always a lovely day for a Guinness in a can.
Always a lovely day for a Guinness in a can. Guys, I've said this before. Beer Brackets, we always break down the hard questions for you. All the burning questions that have been existing in our society for decades and decades and decades that all of you have been wondering about and sending us mail, physical mail and emails, electronic mails, asking us to solve these questions and to ponder these questions and to answer them for you. We've come up with a response. And the superior form of Guinness is most definitely the can. No doubt about it. They are very different beers. They're very different experiences in all seriousness. No contest in my mind. Can is the winner. Happy lead up to St. Patrick's Day. Happy St. Patrick's Day if you are watching this on the day. Stay tuned because we have a couple of other videos coming as a celebration in the next 2 weeks leading up to the day. As always, don't forget to close your beer brackets. Close it with a Guinness. And always close it with a Guinness in a can. Enjoy that widget. Cheers, everyone.
Cheers, guys. Enjoy, and don't forget to close the beer brackets.